My first degree is not in psychology, but I was an architect. After some years, I realized that I didn't want to work as an architect, but I didn't know what to do. So I traveled 2 years in South America. And then I met quite a lot of psychologists, psychoanalysts in Argentina. And I thought, when I'm coming back to Europe, I will start psychology and see how it goes. And I remember the first 6 months were very difficult, meaning I understood most of the words that the professor were pronouncing and what I was reading, but I didn't understand the meaning, the message. So the first 6 months were a challenge, but after 6 months something happened. And then I love it. And I knew that I wanted to write a PhD in psychology. To help people, you need to understand them. And by confronting your understanding of the people to the reality, when you try to help them, it's also a way to test understanding. That means the value of truth is not only produced through objectivity and logic, it also produced through the confrontation of the knowledge to the reality. So a knowledge, psychological knowledge that doesn't change the world for the best doesn't have the same value than a knowledge that makes the difference. And at the same time, I think it's very important that we should promote the two approaches, basic research in psychology and applied research in psychology, and the training, of course, of future professionals in psychology. I think as much as possible it's important that you behave in accordance with your beliefs and values. So that's not specific to psychology, I would say. It's a more humanistic perspective. Emotional development from a cross-cultural perspective, that's an important line of research. And the other line of research is about how to help children to improve their emotional competence at the kindergarten and school. So these two lines of research, developmental psychology, development of emotions, typical, non-typical from a cross-cultural perspective, and teaching emotional understanding, most of the time in typically developing children. There are different challenges. One of the biggest challenges coming to my mind is not specific to research on emotional development, is on research in general in academia. There is a sort of liberal approach where the university is conceived as an instrument, if not to earn money, at least to improve the quality of life in the society, which is good. I think it's important, but that's not the only mission of the university. The mission of the university is also to improve our understanding of the world. And so that means it's very important to promote basic research for the good sake of research, for curiosity. The university is also a place where you preserve diversity in research and where you don't promote a sort of monogamic version of research. Often I'm asking my students at the beginning of the semester, why are you here today? Are you here today because of your genes? Are you here today because of your brain? Are you here today because of your family? Are you here today because of chance? Are you here today because of the power of your mind, your willpower, because you wanted to be here? Or are you here today because you are living in Norway? And actually they realize at the end of the lecture that if they are in the room, it's because all of these different reasons. That means the social, cultural, historical dimension is one of the most important dimensions to describe and to explain the mind. I think it would be a mistake to reduce the mind to the socio-historical, cultural approach, but it would be a mistake to ignore this dimension. But of course, it's much more difficult to integrate different approaches. If I tell you the object that you have in front of you is a triangle, but the other person says it's a circle, it will be quite easy for you to realize that the object is like a cone, or if it's a triangle and a square, that it's a pyramid, or if I say it's a circle and a square, that's a tube. So 2 by 2, it's okay, but as soon as I ask you to imagine that the same object has 3 different shadows, a triangle, a square, and a circle, then that's going to be much more difficult. And psychology is very much about that. It's multidimensional in the description of the mind and in the explanation of the mind. That means the mind is not just about genes, it's not just about the brain, it's not just about willpower, it's not just about chance, it's not just about family, it's not just about society, it's about all these different dimensions. And the challenge is to integrate them, to recognize their existence and to integrate them. And the students, they realize that very quickly, because when I ask them, why are you here today because you wanted to be here today? At the beginning of the lecture, the vast majority, they say, yes, I'm in this room because I wanted to be in this room. And then I ask them, but how many of you have at least one parent in the business of helping people? Psychologist, psychiatrist, medical doctor, nurse, pedagogue, teacher, etc. And then, in general, it's 80%. So, and I'm telling them, 80% of the people in this room, they are here because their parents were in the business of helping people, but you still believe that you are here because you want it. So that's the challenge, how to integrate these different approaches. And here I'm discussing just 2 dimensions, but psychology is multidimensional.